Hey YouTube, Half Click up here, coming at you with a 3-year, 35,000 mile review of the Yamaha FZ6R. Let's go.
Hold it up, we gon' burn it down.
So a couple of years ago, I had done a 1-year review of ownership of the Yamaha FZ6R. Now, this particular bike is the 2009 model. They haven't changed it at all, really, in all the years of its production. It is still the same bike. Now, this bike is mostly the same as it was when I did the year review. The major difference being the Woodcraft ClipOn mod. Let's cover the topics of first performance, and then let's talk about reliability, and then let's go ahead and discuss this particular bike and what all I have done to it. So performance. The Yamaha FZ6R has the engine out of a mid-2000s model Yamaha R6. You'll find this engine in the 2004 to 2006-ish, give or take a couple of years, R6. In this particular bike, the engine has been detuned a bit. The computer has been remapped. What it allows for is a very predictable throttle and a very predictable power band. Okay, the R6 has a crazy punch above 8,000 RPM. As you can see here, the Yamaha FZ6R red lines at 12,000 RPM. Okay, so instead of getting that crazy high-end punch, you have a smooth power delivery throughout the entire RPM range. There's no crazy jump at high RPMs. Everything is a smooth power delivery, which is what makes it really ideal for a first sport bike if you want to go straight into the 600cc class. Fuel economy is great. It gets in the high 30s to low 40s depending on your level of spirited riding, if you will. Your mileage may vary. Top speed of the bike is probably somewhere around 135 to 140 miles an hour. I don't actually know. I've never topped it out. I've came pretty close. Fastest I've ever gotten this bike to is about 130. And it will get up there just as quickly as all the rest. I guarantee. Ergonomically, talk about seat height. It is perfect for a beginner because you can flat foot this bike all day long. I can sit on this bike. I have the seat on the high setting. All right, it's adjustable. You can adjust the seat from a low or high setting. I currently have it on the high setting, and I can still flat foot this bike. I can flat foot this bike like I'm sitting in a freaking chair. And to give you an idea on that deal, I'm 5'11". Okay, so let's discuss reliability. Well, from my personal experience and standpoint, again, I turned 35,000 miles. I have done nothing to this bike except routine maintenance. I've changed the chain, tires, oil, you know, brakes, all the typical stuff you're supposed to do anyways. Engine-wise, it has been literally bulletproof. It has not given me a lick of trouble whatsoever. And again, all I've done is perform the regular scheduled routine maintenance on the thing. So, and it's also a testament to Yamaha's reliability as a manufacturer. They make excellent motorcycles. Okay, so let's discuss modifications. What have I done to this bike? Well, I run the DID gold chain. I like the aesthetics of it. I think it's a good looking chain. Just looking around on the bike, I've got the red wheel tape. See the red striping there on the wheels? Hey, you just get that off eBay, man. It's super cheap. Moving along, I run the Yamaha frame sliders, the GYTR frame sliders, GYTR. That stands for Genuine Yamaha Technology Racing. It's just a product line is all it is, and it's stuff made specifically for the Yamaha bikes. None of it's universal. You do have to cut the the fairing. However, when you remove the fairing, flip it over, look on the inside, there is an actual circle where you're supposed to cut for these frame sliders. It's pretty convenient. Yamaha knew what they were doing when they did that, and it also makes you wonder why they didn't just put the damn things on there to begin with, right? So that's the GYTR Yamaha FZ6R frame sliders. Just for reference, the Shogun frame sliders, what they advertise as the no-cut frame sliders, stay away from those, man, because they mount like on the engine mount somewhere, and the thing only sticks out like that far. It doesn't protect the bike from anything. With the no-cut sliders, if the bike goes down, you're gonna lose your fairing. So I highly recommend taking your time, drilling the hole neatly, and going in and installing the GYTR frame sliders. Here we have another GYTR piece. That's the red and black carbon fiber weave tank protector with the FZ6R logo embossed on there. Love this piece. I think it looks fantastic. It looks really good. Really complements the red trim on the bike. Moving to the front of the bike, this is the GYTR FZ6R embossed logo there. Windscreen, the smoked windscreen. It's also available in clear. Obviously black looks the best, and or smoked. Again, this is also a GYTR piece. I believe it's actually produced by Puig, P-U-I-G or P-U-I-G-G. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, they Yamaha just threw their logo on there and marketed it as their own in the GYTR lineup. Let's look at the clutch and brake levers. These are just your little CNC machined Chinese knockoffs. They're just little Shorty levers. They're available all over eBay, all over Amazon. You can get them from between 10 and 20 bucks. Super cheap. However, they are highly effective and they are highly functional. I have no complaints about them. Now, you see the color. What happened was the sun got to them. Yeah, you cannot get gold levers that I know of, gold Chinese levers like this. This happened from sun bleaching. Let's check this out. If you look here, I'll pull the clutch in. See, there's the original color right there. See that? That part's never exposed to the sun. So the bike just sitting out in the sun has literally removed the black anodization from these levers. The funny thing about it is I prefer it. I actually prefer the gold. You know what? It accents and matches the chain, right? Go with that DID gold chain, and your Chinese brake and clutch levers match once they sit in the sun for a little while. This is the Moto dynamic LED tail light. It's sequential, so that means it blink, 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 or blink, 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 right? Like the new Mustangs do. Sequential blinkers. And all of that stuff is programmable inside this this thing. And it also has a neat safety feature. When you hit the brake, it flashes 3 times before it stays lit, so it gets the driver's attention behind you. And that is programmable as well. And this particular tail light, of course, as you can see, is the smoked version. It's also available in clear and regular red. But I am all about the smoked accents. I think it looks really good. As far as the ram mount goes, I get a lot of questions about the ram mount. The trick with the FZ6R is right here. So you don't have a stem hole like you do on a Super Sport, okay? So what you have to do, you have to get this little ball. It's metal. It replaces the steering lock nut here. There's a big chrome lock nut that comes on there originally. When you put the clip-on mod on here, you remove that because you know your little tree and all that comes off, and so this is just bare, and you got to get this little ball here to be able to attach the ram mount. And I guess that brings us to the most significant modification of all. It is the mod that has completely transformed this bike as far as how it handles, as far as riding position, posture, the entire rider's triangle, and that is the Woodcraft clip-ons. This bike, I'll go ahead and say, should have come with clip-ons from the factory. I get it. They were aiming at the sport touring market, and you know, your beginner riders that maybe don't want to sit aggressively. But the thing about it is the seat doesn't change, man. Okay, so the only reason you lean a little bit farther is because the clip-ons slant downward, all right, when you do this mod. Outside of that, you can still maintain the same exact seating posture as you would if it just had the factory straight bar. So really confused as to why Yamaha didn't just go ahead and put clip-ons on this thing from the factory. The best mod by far on this bike, the Woodcraft ClipOn mod. Now, specifically, you need the clip-on kit that has a 1.25 inch rise. See the rise here? These risers? 1.25 inches. You have to specifically get that kit. Alright, this is not universal. Of course, the 1.25 inch kit is universal for various bikes, but for the FZ6R specifically, you're going to need that particular kit. Now, as far as alignment of the bars, all I did was use the factory handlebar and the holes on it as reference for mounting the controls and stuff. So all I did was take a tape measure and measure out the where the mounting holes were on the factory bar and just reproduce that on the clip-on bars. So I put the bar in, I marked it with a Sharpie, put the bar in a vise, and just took a drill, man, and drilled that hole right through there, and mounted the controls accordingly. It's not a bad modification to perform yourself. Of course, you use Loctite on all this stuff down here, man. All these things, Loctite, 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 Loctite. You don't ever want this shit to come loose on you, right? But so as far as time, it did take a little while. It's a multi-hour job. You do want to take your time with it. You want to get all your measurements correct before you bother putting this thing on 100%. You want to mock it up several times and make sure it's exactly how you want it before you snug everything down for good. But yep, Woodcraft ClipOn mod, an absolute necessity for any FZ6R rider. Factory blinkers have been deleted. These are just little cheap Chinese LED smoked blackout lenses. They light up and flash orange, but when they're off, they kind of blend in with the bike. You see, it's got a gray look to it, man. They do fade. They're sun bleached. I need a better product on there. I'd like to upgrade to something nicer. I also get a lot of questions about the rear view mirrors. You see, I don't have the big bunny ears that come factory on the FZ6R. These are actually mirrors for a Kawasaki ZX6R. Any of the late 2000 model ZX6R mirrors will do. And you'll see when you look for these things on Amazon or eBay, the year range in the description covers, like, I don't know, man, 5, 6, maybe 7 years worth of Kawasaki Ninja production. So yeah, and these things do just bolt straight on there. Remove the stock mirrors, ZX6R mirrors bolt straight on. Let's talk about brakes real quick. You have standard issue Nissan calipers on front and rear. On the front you have dual disc brakes. They're cross drilled. The front brakes are pretty dang decent, man. I have no complaints about the front brakes. The rear brake, however, you have one single small disc, and it's cross drilled. Again, Nissan caliper, but the rear brake has two modes, okay? And the two modes for the rear brake are either nothing or rear tire locked up. Yep. That thing's either off or on, man. It's a very squishy rear brake. You get a little bit too generous on it and it will lock your rear up. So, you know, it is what it is, man. 70% front, 30% rear. You know the rule. You always apply 70% of your braking power on the front and 30% on the rear. It balances it out. It makes it functional. And so it's neither here nor there. Well, anyways, YouTube, that's about it, man. That's all I have to say about the bike. I hope it was useful information for a lot of people out there looking to get the FZ6R as perhaps their first 600cc sport bike. Again, I highly recommend it. It's a great bike for a beginner. Very predictable bike. I got nothing but good stuff to say about it, really. As far as any of these accessories go that we talked about in this review, they are all down in the description. I'll provide links for all the stuff that's on this bike in case you want to partake and put that kind of stuff in your bike. So there you go. Spin half click up. 2009 Yamaha FZ6R, 3 years of ownership and 35,000 mile review. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave some comments, any questions, comment down below. And don't forget to like, hit the thumb. Hit the thumb. Hit the thumb. Yeah.